fresh dancing scenes. Oh.
I was having a little dance on that intro.
I don't hear anything.
Well, welcome back, friends. He can't even see either.
Hap was talking while the producer's in 5, 4, 3.
I don't hear
I was just like,
anything.
Fresh is dancing.
Well, we gotta have a camera for that. Welcome, friends. Welcome again to APAC North. We're starting off great here. It's the specific vibe that we're going for. APAC North continues with game number 2, FAV versus Cyclops, all Japan in this matchup. And I have Hap.
Hello. The man that speaks before I was supposed to.
How dare you?
I had no clue. I was like, oh, that video that took a bit longer in the pre-show, so I was like, I have some time.
We're not in the pre-show anymore.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know there was 2 versions of it.
Well, there you go.
Now I do.
Fresh, you found out the hard way.
The hard way.
Fresh, of course, on the desk with us here to chat about our next game. We're going to have a talk first about Cyclops and what they have to offer in this game, because they are one of the teams that have had no changes to them.
Yeah, no changes, and of course last year tied first place with which was back then Men's FPS Sandbox as well. 44 points they managed to achieve, and where they started the year very strong. I think they started to struggle a little bit as well after the majors. They didn't quite hit the strides like they normally would, and had to qualify through the open qualifiers for the very final major, which they of course failed to do back then.
Yeah, they feel like a team on decline, which is difficult to say because they've got a lot of quality, and go back a full year from now, they were beating teams for fun, and now they're actually one of the teams that are like in the mix. They've got a lot of challengers. Their place at majors and SI, it isn't as secure as what it was.
Yeah.
Was it before Mexico where they were running around on Oregon with Montaña, multiple rounds, and multiple games in a row? But
I think with Repick, like they were first they were limited to just a single operator they could change.
Now they can
do whatever they want, and there will not be a reveal phase that gives it away. So the opponents will literally find out the moment that the execute hits what they're facing.
And that's actually a big point for them. It's not necessarily just the repicks, it's the lack of the reveal phase, because we know that they like to run shields, and now they can just completely hide that type of stuff.
Well, Fav, what can they do on the other side, Fresh?
Oh, Fav is a team that I love to watch and I hate to watch in the same moment. Just as we saw from T1, where they just in that last game, they were getting to 5v2s and losing them. Fav created that whole strategy of playing around really well and then just completely throwing it in the bin. And they do have spurts of good moments. Afro, number 2, really good players, and I like their new pickup. They've got a new pickup in Ramu, who's got a lot of experience. And I think that's probably what Fav's issue was, is that they had all this kind of good idea. They all wanted to implement good ideas, but they didn't have an experienced player just to guide them through the rounds. And I think that's what Ramu will give them. And I think it's a good pickup overall.
Yeah, I think as well, like Fav, of course, they've had a long time now to set everything straight again. I mean, they weren't at the 6th Invitational, they weren't at the Major. They ended 7th place last year, 2 points away from Talon, who were safe. So they did play that whole relegation area, and they managed to get out of it. So let's see if they became a stronger team overall.
Our map bans, what do they look like? Well, it's actually big space.
What does it look like? There's loads of
these. A new map.
Ban. Per pick. Villa, bank, cafe removed. Skyscraper.
Still chance for border.
Clubs out.
I'm not calling.
Do we get theme? Do we get theme?
Chalet and theme park taken away. No, we don't. It's a very long graphic, by the way.
I thought it was finally finished, but
no, it just keeps on going. Oregon is left at the end, picked up by FAV, obviously because they banned theme park before that, and that is her decider, where FAV start off on the attacking side. Thoughts before we win the game?
In stage 3, Oregon was their least preference map. And I think Fav, if they've not picked up these 3 new maps, any of them, they're going to lose the banning phases. It looks like they've potentially lost this banning phase because they didn't previously like Oregon.
Yeah, and I just remember a lot of good old plays from Cyclops back in the day, when it would just drop the diffuser in spawn and still win out based on pure frag. And that wasn't Oregon most of the time.
Like Oregon,
so they like Oregon, and that might make it a little bit troublesome here for Fav.
That is a real test for Fav and their lineup and how they have to kind of work things out very quickly on the dot. Hey, attacker repick. That's going to play a big role from now on. Thank you very much, boys. We're bringing things down fresh and Hap. That's Cyclops v Fav. Let's get into game. It's a classic Oregon. And of course, we got Dez, who you've already seen, but it's Big Tim on the other side too.
swole Tim at the minute, mate.
And bigger every day.
He is.
Putting a massive in UK massive.
I like that line. That's not a bad one. Has he robbed that from you? I knew you
I've
didn't
not
have the
got away with
brains
it.
for that. You're all brawn and
I've
no
not got
brains
away with
these
it.
days.
I've not got away with it.
Oh, only that one, Tim, but we are having some Oregon in our first cast game of APAC North in 2022. SI was only a month ago, but it feels like such a long time since we sat down to cast a game and we get an all-Japanese showdown, FAV versus Cyclops. Let's find out who walks away the winner, Tim, as we get into our new shiny band phase.
It's very nice, isn't it? The graphical changes that we've got coming through. We'll have a little look at them as the band phase comes in. Looks pretty similar to begin with, but now we start seeing the differences.
I could watch it all day.
I absolutely love it. I think it's great. So we're going to have our regular banning phase. 2 defenders, 2 attackers will go by the wayside. Cyclops are going to kick things off for us, and it's going to be Flores going out first of all. Little nod towards maybe defending areas like elbow, particularly keeping that shield intact, keeping your, keeping your areas held down.
Yeah, whenever I think of Flores in APAC North, I always think to Merriu, who's currently now playing for Fnatic. Now, they've obviously picked up the old Guts Gaming lineup, a team that would often use it. Neither of these teams featuring in that regard, so although it may be in their back pocket, not one they'll be bringing out today. Thatcher, I think at this point, you're still expecting him to be the go-to ban for at least one attacking team.
Still going to be seeing plenty of Thatcher bans, don't worry about that. You'll still get some Valkyrie bans as well. Maybe a little bit less so. Reminder, obviously, the changes have come into Valkyrie's cameras now. They won't operate outside for, I think it's anything over 10 seconds. They'll just lose their feed at that point. So, yeah, I mean, you could use it sort of on an impact basis. Just throw it out there, get the information, react to it, but you're not going to be getting much more than that. It's going to be Kaid and Mira coming in on the bans. No major surprises there, and we are set. We are ready to go. We're going to get ourselves into Oregon, and we're going to have a bit of FAV versus Cyclops. Now, there's going to be a lot of Cyclops fans out there that are hoping for a strong start here, Des. A little bit of a roller coaster for them last year. There was ups, there was downs. They maybe, didn't hit the heights that they wanted to overall, but it wasn't a bad year either. This year, I've got a feeling the Cyclops are going to be coming out looking for big, big things.
I had this back at Mexico where I said at the time, I didn't want to say I was disappointed, but those are the words that I used. I was kind of disappointed that Damwon Kia was sort of stealing the spotlight because in Stage 2, it was Cyclops that were putting on a show. They were the team that looked ready to go and take on the world and deliver the goods. But they got to Mexico and it just didn't go the way they were hoping. I had a good chat with Hybrid, one of their analysts, about it, bless his heart and soul, and we spoke about it a bit then. He was like, the boys just wasn't our day, but we learnt an awful lot there. But then Damwon Kia went from kind of a new height to new height and really left Cyclops in the dirt trail behind them. So there is some work to do for Cyclops to really put themselves up there as one of the best in the region, but no doubt they are one of the stronger Japanese teams. FAV, on the other hand, a big change coming in here that's of course worth stressing is Ramu being brought in. So he used to play for Norengo back in the day. If you remember back in the Waka reign when they were doing well at SI 2018, that was the time. He was part of that almost winning roster. They did incredibly well. I think him coming into FAV as fresher than the desk does help introduce a lot of structure to this team, but otherwise it's going to be the usual suspects that you're hoping to deliver the goods.
Typhon already got himself inside of Armory Corridor, so it's going to be a top floor clearance to begin with from FAV. They're going to look to chase down any of those Cyclops roamers, make life difficult, but there's going to be a lot of time burnt in doing so, especially with somebody like Ayagator on the Oryx, going to be able to just up and down those hatches, keep himself mobile, keep himself moving, more importantly, keep himself unpredictable. Look at all these rotations that he's opened up for himself. He's going to be trying to just make a nuisance in and around the kitchen area, and as you can see, the clearance continues. Gatorada is the one looking to try and fight them off out of attic. He dips away and he takes his life. He's wasted a minute on the top floor. Don't forget, we're defending down in basement, so really not the end of the world. This is a nice little roam from Cyclops to kick things off.
It's fantastic. It's almost like a roaming extended hold in a way, where they are committing really hard to contesting up in attic around trophy, not sticking down tons of reinforcements up there and making it like you'd expect if you're trying to attack in the top floor. But with that, they've wasted 90 seconds seconds up on the top floor and now can get themselves back down into sight. Having picked up a few drones on their way through, have gone through 90 seconds of the clock, drained a little bit of utility. Great start.
No hatches opened yet. There's work to be done for FAV here. They're going to get started on exactly that. But given that they're reliant on the Mav to open those up, Thermite could potentially do the job. Shin, I think, just inside of security there. So he may just be assisting. But it's going to be essential that he does, because otherwise it could take 40 seconds for the Maverick to open those hatches. They've had to use that utility to try and cut that down a little bit. And that's what they've done. But so far, still 5v5 coming into the final minute. Cyclops are looking good.
Tell you what, Tim. I tell you what, I'm excited about this Irrigator rat. If they don't drone him out, there could be a world of hurt coming their way. They obviously know there's been challenges coming in from the stairs itself, so that is where attentions will be focused. If Irrigator just plays the patience game here, he can strike big.
Certainly could do. We're watching the final 40 seconds to see just how much of an impact he does or does not have. But for the time being, FAV, they're sort of posturing, they're shaping, they're getting themselves ready to go. And there is the impact that we were looking for. Irrigator manages to get one. The push starts coming in from Freezer. Typon gets Suzusu and kills just come raining in from FAV. 3v2 now with only 19 seconds left to go. But the diffuser, it is going down. The kills continue to be found. Ramu finding the latest. Irrigator trades it out. 1v2. They have to try with the diffuser again. It's all up to Irrigator. Don't think he knows that he's on the left. Moves through the rotation. Typon shuts him down. And that's going to be round one going to FAV.
A crazy round as well. I mean, Irrigator springs the trap, gets that one from backstage, but that's only one side of the attack. Everything else was happening down towards the south. So you'd argue fortunate on the side of FAV. They've moved all their players off to go and push down through Laundry and through Freezer, meaning there was only one victim to fall to Irrigator there. A good round coming out for FAV. Very lightning quick when it came round to the attack. But on the side of Cyclops, well, caught sleeping a little bit in round one, Tim.
Yeah, I like that. FAV, we questioned the time that they had left. Is it, you know, they were down to a minute, still opening hatches. You think there's a lot to be done here. They're going to have to rely on those gunfights as they go in. And rely they did. Absolutely not a problem for them. They weren't rattled. They got themselves moving quickly, and it was well played. Heading into round two now, they're going to go up to the top floor of Oregon. It's going to be Dorms, and the hold from Cyclops will be pretty standard, although we do have the, I won't say new, but the adjusted Goyo coming in this time around for Irrigators. So we'll keep an eye on just exactly where those canisters are being deployed. One at the top of White Stairs for now. But yeah, interesting, not the shields being brought along anymore by Goyo.
Yeah, that's the one big change, of course, worth noting, is without all those shields in backside now, you're looking towards, well, the shields that you got to bring on things like the smoke and the frost instead. It does mean you can't do things like arguably a really heavy hold inside of Trophy, because normally you then need a shield inside of Pit as well to give you cover through the double wall of the Trophy that leads in towards site itself. If you want to leave one inside of Trophy, you are quite exposed, so you have to be able to get back pretty quickly. So we'll see what the setup looks like for them in a moment. However, the Goyo for me is going to be the big one, because when you do get those Vulcan canisters popped off, that's a good 10 to 15 seconds in which there is a massive fire spread, and you're left just looking at it like, well, we can't push anywhere. I guess we're a little bit stuck.
That's it. It could be really impactful, particularly if we see, like we did in the last round, a late push coming in from FAV. For the time being, they're looking to clear out Big Tower. That is goal number one for them. And this is quite an aggressive hold to begin with Irrigator playing that rotation out into the rear stage area from Attic. But he's going to dip away and he's going to use that reinforcement that they kept in pocket. He's going to lock it off. And we're also going to see the Goyo canister that was in Attic detonated as well. Now, I'm not sure that will have been purposeful, because obviously they weren't expecting anybody to move through there. I'm not sure if it's something that maybe the attackers have managed to do, but there's going to be another one place for the time being. Afro, however, opens things up with the kill onto Blackray.
I think on the sheer basis here that Irrigator 1 is holding and can then look to waste even more time very shortly is brilliant, because he's got that Vulcan canister down behind him. Even if he dies here, it doesn't overly matter, because they can still burn through about 15 seconds. And with 90 seconds already gone, FAV will start to feel the pressure. C4 coming out, hoping to find the Maverick, misses out on that one just narrowly, and the Maverick not getting in spot quickly enough to be able to take him on the retreat. So they've got out, they've left the Vulcan canister. Beautiful setup so far for Cyclops, and again, wasting an awful lot of time on these these slightly extended holds.
Great from Alligator there, able to get away with his life after the little nitro attempt. It's pretty much left them without any push coming in through Attic now for FAV. They do have the man advantage, haven't dealt with Suzusu underneath yet. That's going to be another factor for them to consider, but for the time being they are focusing their efforts towards that game's wall, but the Mute Jammer will hold them off for the time being. And interestingly, just placed a little bit further back from the wall, but it didn't manage to keep it alive. The nade underneath in Classroom, enough to do the job, and Aniton's feeling a little bit of pressure here after being stunned, but again, that push is not forthcoming immediately. Ramu manages to find Suzusu, and yet again a patient approach from FAV is paying dividends.
Oh, and they're just swinging with 2 more off the back of it. This could be a flawless round. Coming out, Tim finds one, finds a second to Aniton, at least recovering this temporarily. But I don't really feel it matters. There's still one more. Oh, the plant to the right. Does he know about the window? But the swing comes in from the kids rotate, and down he goes. Another round going the way of the attackers.
That was well played from FAV. There was absolutely...
a bit nervy at the end.
Yeah, up until that point, though, there was no real fear in them. They just, they weren't worried about the time. They were just patient. They moved people around, and they just waited for their opportunities to present themselves. And when they did, they took them. And FAV are looking very, very confident here so far. I like what I'm seeing from them. This is a team that I've sort of tried to champion a little bit before. In last year, I said they're a team that have got wins in them. That much is for sure. You don't always know what you're going to get. That much is true as well. But today, we are starting to see the best of them.
You know me and what I was like last year, Tim. Big number 2 shield for the longest time. Didn't quite deliver the goods towards the back end of the year, but I always said about FAV, they've lacked a little bit of an identity. It was really hard to understand where they fit into the picture in APAC North. What was their play style? What was it that made them unique? And really a lot of it just came down to this very rapid, frantic style of attack, this ranked style mentality that we've heard some teams being spoken about. And I feel like we've already said with Ramu coming in, it's going to give them a little bit more structure. And here I think you're starting to see that come into life. They're spending the first half of the round very diligently clearing away roamers, for example, getting set up for an execute, and when they say go on the execute itself, they are in so ridiculously quick. You get 3 or 4 kills coming in the space of 3 or 4 seconds of each other, and it just means the defenders are basically unable to react. So it's looking good so far, but I'm also curious to see how the second half plays out when they get to the defense. Let's not forget, back in the map that we had earlier on between T1 and Talon, the first 2 rounds did go the way of one team, only for the other to pull the next 2 back their way.
We've had plenty of fascinating changes coming into this season. We'll try and point them out, even the little ones, as we go. The destruction is the one that I'll focus on for the time being. The defenders' shotguns doing a little bit more damage to those soft surfaces.
You've played. Is it also applicable to rifles like the Zofia LMG, or is it just shotguns?
It'd be difficult to say. I did shoot out a couple of walls with the Kaid pistol the other day, yesterday, and it was reasonably easy, but I don't feel like the holes were any bigger than they might normally have been. But the shotgun blasts into the walls certainly seem to get things opened up a little bit quicker and a little bit bigger as well, so it saves you a bit of time. So that's been a fascinating change so far. We'll see obviously how that goes, because it's allowing the defenders to set up a little bit quicker. As they get used to this, it'll be 2 shots to open up a line of sight rather than 3 or 4, and it'll just speed things up a bit. But speeding things up is going to be FAV as they try to push on into this Cyclops roam and start to find that entry kill.
They've got the right idea here that someone might be inside a meeting, and literally a matter of pixels from IAG to get in the angle, but not to be found just yet. They at least have the idea, and here comes Rama on the push in as well. Finds one, finds another man sat down the back of stage, but Aniton, unable to find anything through those punch holes, will back himself away. Rama is down to a slither of HP, but they will have the juice coming in from number 2 to at least get him back up to about half HP.
Ramu's having a great first game so far. He's going absolutely brilliantly. 4-1 type on 4-0. 8-1 between the 2 of them inside 2 rounds. Absolutely ridiculous plays so far, and you can see exactly why FAV are on top of things here. Cyclops that we saw last year just haven't shown up so far in the beginning stages of Oregon. We're going to continue seeing those hatches used to apply vertical pressure as we come into the final 50 seconds here. Shin looking to get aggressive down into Freezer, but there are men who are aware of that, and they're going to look to hold him back. Ramu tries to push into Highway unsuccessfully as Aniton shuts him down, and Cyclops hold on for just a little bit longer.
And here we come, multifaceted approach coming in. Really, you got one coming in from blue, one coming through freezer. Others looking to drop, and this time number 2 finds the flank they're looking for on his push down through pillars. Afro gets the final. A big 3K close up for the side of FAV at the end of that round. That's 3 on the bounce, Tim, and they've won on the downstairs attack twice.
Number 2 becomes the number 1 in round 3 as he gets them a big impact moment at the end there. He was the can opener, just went in and just really started to take the top off of that defence and open things up for them. FAV going very, very well, and no surprise to see Cyclops coming in here with that tactical timeout. They need something, Des. They need to put the brakes on because right now they are struggling, and this is FAV on the attack, let's not forget. The bigger the lead they get up, they are then heading into a defensive phase whereby you would expect them to be winning rounds, and it's not going to get any easier for Cyclops as this one goes on.
It's interesting because everyone looked at attacker repick and went, the game's already attacker leaning. Like, it's going to become even more so attacker leaning. But you look at the stats from, for example, the 6th Invitational prior to this patch coming in, and it was still pretty much the same as before. Defender-sided maps were defender-sided, attacker-sided maps were attacker-sided, admittedly quite heavily so. I think Cosign and Chalet were down at like 30-something%, Bank as well. But otherwise, it was all kind of above 50%. So there was a pretty fair balance, and we're really yet to get that feel of, does attacker repick have a massive swing towards the attackers?
The thing is here, it's not really down to attacker repick.
No.
Let's be honest.
They
FAV are coming in
used it.
and they're just winning gunfights. They're
Yep.
just coming in, they're winning gunfights. They've already got the tools for the job. It's not like they're having a look at the defence and going, oh, right, actually, we didn't have a thermite. We'd better bring... You know, they are well prepared. They've done the homework. They're coming in. They're winning gunfights. They're creating space for themselves to play into. You know, we saw the drop last time. We saw the bit of pressure from Freezer, and it allowed number 2 to move in because eyes were taken off pillars. And so they're creating that space well, and they're getting in there and finding kills. So for me, attacker repick, as you say, not really being used, not really a factor here for the reason that the attackers are doing so well. That's something, Des, that we need to be careful of going forward. Because over the next few weeks, naturally, we're going to look at those stats and we're going to say,
Attacker
wow,
did that.
the attackers, look how many extra rounds the attackers have won. But we need to be very careful to classify where that use of the attacker repick is and how impactful it has been on those wins. Because, yeah, if you maybe change an attacker, if that attacker has absolutely nothing to do with the win of that round, then it ain't the reason that you've won it.
And looking at this round, Tim, there are a lot of nades coming in on the side. I mean, yeah, you're hoping for this, but he's been baited out by the alibi, which is ironically going to save his life here, it feels like. But the thing is, there's a lot of nades on side here. Sees the man running the cross, can't quite find him. With all these nades I've got on the side, there is only the Jaeger on the other side. There is no Wamai coming in. So things like Black Ray's shield, like the Banshees, for example, they are all under threat from that nade-based play, as well as, of course, the 5 players themselves. So for FAV, who have ran this lineup now 3 rounds in a row, we've seen the Maverick, we've seen the Yana, we've seen the Finker all the way throughout, plus the Zofia for some range destruction and the ability to burn through those ADSs. I'd be a little bit nervous on the side of Cyclops here because you're just opening yourself up to Nade City.
Very possibly. Ramu's just going to hold himself an angle onto the white window there, hoping that somebody's going to show themselves. But for the time being, FAV just focusing on that top floor clearance. They want to make sure that they've got control of domes so they can start working with that verticality. For the time being, it's Suzuki holding it on. Is he going to get himself caught out? He looks to make the challenge, but won't find Ramu, who is inside the yellow bus. But nor does he take any damage. So for the time being, Cyclops, they hold on.
This is very reminiscent of the game from Cyclops against Team 1, if you recall, in the group stages of, I want to say it was SI, but it could have been Sweden. Events all just seem to chain together at this point, Tim. But they were being hyper-aggressive on this map around the bottom of white. They were jumping out windows, running out of lobby door, and trying to catch members of Team 1 who were sat just outside the building. And I'm pretty sure they ended around at one point without anyone on the side of Team 1 even setting a foot inside the building. So it's good to see that aggression being kept up here. However, the other side have been dealing with it relatively well so far. And finally, Cyclops start to strike. That is what we call a caster curse. 2 kills coming in for Cyclops.
It's exactly what Cyclops needed as well, Des, was that entry, was that platform, that foundation to build from. And that is exactly what they've got now, because FAV, they're going to have to let go of top floor. They cannot keep pushing into it. They cannot clear it out. So the verticality is likely to remain in the possession of Cyclops. Black Ray, however, doesn't keep possession of his life as he's going to be taken down inside of the corridor there. there. Out comes a big spray. Shin is going to hit his own man. And then Anaton manages to get in and make it even worse after he finishes a man off 3 versus 1 for Cyclops. Now Afro managing to try and just get something going, but it's likely to not be enough here. With 25 seconds left to go, he's going to look to head in towards meeting. I think he knows that there is one just inside there. He gets challenged underneath that bench. He's going to find himself taken down, and that's going to be Cyclops getting themselves the first round, and it comes directly after that tactical timeout.
I do really want to commend Cyclops for how their defenses have played out so far. They've been really aggressive on these extended holds, on pushing out across the map, on looking to challenge FAV, not just in different areas of the map, but also outside of it as well. I'm looking up towards their assaulting towards Tower, for example, when they held Trophy, when they were defending down the basement, that round just there. Bottom white, out the front door. The problem is, FAV have had an answer every single round. They've shown that kind of composure to be able to deal with it. No doubt, again, somewhat stewarded by Ramu in the front line. But in that round, Cyclops finally find what they need. 2 entry kills, slowing everything down for FAV and just not giving them time to get things back online. So I'm glad to see it's finally worked. The problem is you've got to make it work on a site that isn't the one you've just stepped into. Now we've got to see it work down in the basement.
This is it. They've got to change things up now. They've got to do something that they haven't been able to yet. They've tried this site twice. They've lost it both times, and they've lost it pretty much on the gunfights of Cyclops. And that's a difficult thing to change up sometimes, because it's not a situation whereby you can say, right, we need to bring this operator or that operator will benefit from that gadget. If you're just losing gunfights, you just got to start winning them, and that sometimes is easier said than done. Anaton on the Mozzie. He's going to start himself inside of dorms for the time being. See just how much he commits to this. It's going to be interesting. How much time can he waste? He's, for the time being, just looking for the potential for that rappel up onto the half roof and just trying to get aggressive here. As you've said a couple of times, Des, Cyclops just playing these aggressive extended holds, but it's not really been working out for them. And Ayagator, he's going to take a chunk of damage as well. Try to escape with his life, and once again one of those holds just folding under the pressure of FAV.
Absolutely. Again, it's the pressure game coming in, but it's measured aggression, Tim, is the way I probably describe it best. We spoke about it in a couple of rounds already, but just seeing them take their time and not feel like they have to race into a gunfight is really serving FAV well so far. Here, at least, they've got themselves inside of Armory on the cut, expecting someone to get forced out of Trophy. They've seen this once before. They feel they can react, and sure enough, Ayagator getting picked off by Ramu nice and early on. All that inside the first 60 seconds. And what I love is seeing the confidence, too. They're spread out in so many different areas. There's a man up in Big Tower. There's one pushing in through Dining. There are 2 coming in through Master Side. It's just very confident where they aren't having to push as a 4 or as a 5. They're happy to split up into 1s and 2s and get the job done.
Challenge onto the Big Tower window from Anaton. Takes a little bit of damage as he tries to do so. Going to think better of it and escape with his life, and that is FAV now largely in control of things here. But they haven't quite dealt with the Mozzie yet. But that final drone will force him away. Guman is going to slow down the progress of Typon, but with 1 minute 30 nearly left on the clock, FAV have got everything they need here. They've got map control. They can think about getting hatches open. They're starting to push rear stage stairs to pressure onto Pillar. They're going to put a little bit of attention to the front side as well. Make Cyclops focus on Laundry. Don't give them an easy time. Don't give them one direction to face up to. 1 minute left to go, and FAV, they're starting to build for this final execute.
Just herding them like sheep as well, Tim. If you look at the drones, they're the sheepdogs in this case as well. They're chasing Cyclops across the whole breadth of the map and just have slowly boxed them all back into this small little horizontal like rectangle that you normally see in basement. When teams on the attacking side have done their job, defenders tend to have to sit inside a supply or out towards Blue Elbow. And sure enough, they've slowly moved their way back forwards here. They're also inside a freezer, now being moved by grenades as well. So Cyclops, they are penned in. FAV have got 30 seconds to make this execute work here. Otherwise, they might find the clock becoming their worst enemy.
This is where it comes to those gunfights that I was talking about for Cyclops. This is the crucial time to start winning them, Des. And just as I say that, they lose 2. Shin, number 2, finding those kills. Suzuki holding on with a kill onto Typon, but he is super low health. Cannot find another. Afro cuts him down. Shin with the last, and it's going to be FAV once again with those last-minute gunfights, able to close out the basement. And Cyclops have had, there's no other way of putting it, a complete failure on the bottom floor today.
Earlier on, I touched on Jaeger being the only anti-throne utility operator they had on side. In that round there, they had none. They had no Wamai, they had no Jaeger, and you could see when they were sat inside of Freezer, they were kind of hesitant to be too aggressive. As soon as any kind of whiff of someone stepping down those stairs came forward, what do? They hightail it, and fairly so, because a grenade is following you, and it found an absolute freebie. If nothing else, it is a massive mistake on the side of Cyclops that they have not realized sooner. They should be doing what they're doing in this round, bringing Jaeger and Wamai and the Aruni for a little bit of extra to help protect against those nades that keep coming through. Again, there are still 6 coming in on the side of FAV. How it's only taken them 5 rounds to realize that and adapt is a little bit beyond me, but I'm glad that at least here maybe they can get a second round and not have to worry so much about grenades coming raining down.
Here we go then. It's going to be the final opportunity for Cyclops to try and get something going. They're going to be heading into meeting as their final defence. We've got the top floor hold once again. Now, interestingly, it was the third choice site of dining that they were able to hold down for that single solitary round that they have managed to secure on the scoreboard. And it was the top floor clearance that did a lot of that work for them. It burnt a lot of FAV's time, and they also weren't able to get in there and get control of it by the end of things, having to just push laterally and really struggling with that. So this time around, they're going to have to do that a little bit differently. They need to get inside of the map, Fav. They need to clear out that top floor, and that's not going to help him. Des, as Black Ray, he manages to take the peek down Showers corridor. He's going to clean out Ramu, and that's going to give them the great start that they needed.
That's the Black Ray special. That's what we're used to seeing through Stage 1 and Stage 2 of APAC North last year, where Black Ray is the one being aggressive out on the roam. He's got a little bit of support to get him back to site, but they find a kill, they find 2, get rid of some drones and hightail it back to site. Good start in the round for Cyclops because, again, playing on that aggressive roam strategy, but making sure Fav pay for it.
Shin is going to be able to get in and open up the wall between dining and kitchen here, put a bit of pressure directly onto site, but still, Fav, they have got their work cut out for them as Cyclops now have to get in that opening kill. They're a little bit happier to just sit back and wait here. Anaton, he's playing inside of security. He's behind the laser gate on the door, and he's just going to try to hold off any advance from Dine inside in towards kitchen. Type on holding a long angle, but not likely to catch his man there as he is behind another wall. He's off in green corridor. So Cyclops, they're trying to just absorb time, absorb pressure here, Des, but with 1:30 left on the clock, there's probably too long for them to do that, to see this out. They're going to have to take fights at some point. The question is, will they choose the right time and place? And the answer is no.
The answer is yes for Fav, though. 2 kills come flying through and they storm their way forward. Anaton getting one through the soft wall opened up behind them, but they basically traded places here. Anaton's taken Zulu while Fav have pushed their way into sight. Finds a kill for himself, but it's a 1 versus 3. We've already been here before. It was the same story in a prior round, and he's going to find himself in the same spot again. 60 seconds left on the clock here and should be able to get the diffuser off. He will indeed, but now he's got to clutch up a big 1v3, and he died in split last time. He's going to die near it once again by the looks of it. The swing comes in, they get the down, and the defuse will be able to be pulled through by the side of Cyclops. They will get their second round in the half, but my God, was it scrappy once again.
That's it. It wasn't clean cut for them, was it? They're in a situation whereby the diffuser still goes down. You don't really worry too much in a 3v1, but there's still an opportunity there is the point when that diffuser is down. You've still got the possibility of being able to lose it, and so Cyclops still, they just need to be a little bit more sort of taking the initiative for me here, going in there and winning rounds, and maybe they'll have the opportunity once they get themselves onto the attack.
The thing is, I won't take it away from them. I think they're doing the right thing. When it comes round to the site executes, they are getting slammed by the side of Fav and their coordination that Ramu's bringing into the roster. The other way of looking at it is that when they're out on the roam and trying to be disruptive early, that is when Fav are arguably at their most vulnerable. However, as we've seen a couple of times, they've still been able to catch these roamers out, shut them down, and get their push forward. It was only in round 6 just a second ago where we saw them have great success. Round 4 the same as well, to be fair, where they pushed out in the map and found early kills. It's been the lack of repeatability of that that has really then led to Fav going, okay, we can execute with 5 or 4 players left alive, and we know that we can do it better than you can defend, therefore we win by default. It's almost like trying to stop the game isn't the winning the round so much, it's stopping Fav getting in a position to go for an execute that has punished them there. So really good composure overall call by FAV. Cyclops with the right idea, just couldn't quite get the rounds on the board.
I think FAV, winning rounds more than Cyclops losing them is probably
I agree.
a reasonable assessment.
I don't want to pile on Cyclops too much
No,
there.
FAV
They haven't done
FAV
much wrong.
Been very difficult to control.
Yes.
They've gone in there, as I say, winning gunfights in the last 20 seconds, 30 seconds. That's what Cyclops haven't been able to shut down. But as I said, that's not really something that you can make a choice about. That's not thinking, right, let's bring some trap operators to slow them down, or right, we need to bring some extra, we need to bring Wamai and Jig. It's not a gadget choice. It's not a layout choice. It's just you're not winning your gunfights because FAV are hitting their shots. But we've just got a quick rehost coming in. We've got a little tech issue that we're going to get ironed out, and then we will be back into this one just as soon as we can be. I don't expect it to be too long. It's not come at a terrible time for Cyclops, I don't think. It's just giving them a nice little break. It's at the halfway mark. They've won the last round. They're now heading on to the attack. I think this is a good opportunity for them to just have that sort of mental reset. They can just say, right, that's done. That's out of the way. We get a little 5-minute breather, and then we can get back into things here. We can start to take that initiative. And for me, the next round's really important. If they can come in and dominate on the attack, I think that maybe could be a little bit of a blow to FAV, because you start thinking, right, Cyclops are going to be able to do something here. They're going to start getting some momentum, and they just needed that initiative to be in their hands. They needed to be the ones coming in dictating when the gunfights were taken, where they were taken. And if that's the case, FAV, they need to be very careful that they don't crumble.
The only thing I'll probably call on to Cyclops side was the point I raised at the start of round 6 about this anti-nade utility, right? You've seen 6 nades in every single round being brought against you, plus the Zofia as well, so you've got to deal with the impacts. And they never really once changed up what their lineup was to deal with that attacking style. We're talking about attacker repick being able to influence, and we didn't see it used at all, but we're talking about how that gives so much control and power over to the attackers. Even if you didn't know if attacker repick was used or not, you're still seeing 6 nades round after round after round. And it took them so long to finally go, okay, guys, maybe we should change our setup here so we can stop getting naded. Shock horror, it kind of works. It definitely wasn't the most influential factor in that round, but it gave you a little bit more protection, not worried about, will a nade come singing in through the roof, or will it come through that doorway at the other end of the room? You can be a little bit more safe about things. However, rehost is over, sound is restored, and we are back into game for round 7. Now again, ignore the picks that you can see on the bottom of your screen. That will not be the lineup that you see once things have been confirmed and we are through the initial droning phase. You will see these change over, so what you're seeing here really is mostly irrelevant.
Give or take, as you say, we've got that attacker repick now, so we will see already them coming in. We've got Ying to Sledge, we've got Fuse to Hibana, we've got Blitz to Buck, we've got Glaz to Finker, and it's just, as you say, a little bit of a tactic, a little bit of a technique to hide that lineup. Now, what I predict that we're going to see here, Des, is largely going to be based on the outcome, and I'm not just talking about today, I'm talking over the next few weeks. If teams do this just to hide their lineup, but don't see any success with the changes, they'll probably stop doing it, is the reality.
Well, it doesn't matter because you don't have a reveal phase anymore.
No,
right?
you don't have a reveal phase. So you could always do it, but my point is, if they're not winning rounds based on doing this, in a couple of weeks' time, we'll probably see them stop bothering.
I think realistically,
they'll just pick their lineup.
Because now it's shorter as well, it's like, just pick whatever, because we can change it in the droning phase anyway. What really matters, I think, is when you see teams bring along a more default lineup for the go-to map that you're on, and then you see the small micro changes coming in.
Those will be the more impactful.
Yeah, or looking at what the changes are between rounds. If someone attacks basement and they lose, and they make a change the next time they attack of these 2 operators, that's when you'll start seeing the real change in, I guess, intent. And speaking of intent, I love it, Ace. What are we seeing on the side of FAV that I've been moaning about in the entire first half for Cyclops?
You're seeing plenty of gadget catching utility.
Yes, I am. And what are we seeing on the other side in terms of nades, Tim?
Not many, Des.
We've got 4 on side. It's not 6. It's not the full count that we saw before, but that means those 4 should be nowhere near as great a threat as what they were previously. Now, on the other side of the attackers, interestingly, we do have 6 breaching rounds being brought along here. We are, of course, focusing up on the top floor, so I'm curious to know where they intend on using 6 of those, to be honest with you, Tim.
So they're not looking for any verticality. You're not going to be able to open attic. You're not going to be able to open games wall with any of that soft breach. So you do have to feel like it's maybe a little bit wasted. And flashes, for example, might have been a little bit better to just burn some of that Wamai and Jaeger utility. It could be a little bit of an issue. Now then, Alligator going to open up that window just then to the side of Attic, looking to get some droning going on. Going to check out exactly what's going on in pit there. He's going to be met by Afro on the Wamai. Number 2, I'm not sure if he's been picked up yet down in Green Corridor. Could be an interesting one from the Jaeger.
Yeah, if he can get himself up the back stairs, of course, then it's a huge flank opportunity. But a team at this level should always have a flank drone on the go. The issue is at the time, is anyone actually sat on that flank drone? At the minute, the answer appears to be no. Everyone weapons up, focused on getting jobs done. But yeah, you should... guys. Hey guys, I got a grenade out my way. I think I have right of way here.
They definitely know that somebody is potentially lurking around those rear stairs. We've seen the Maverick, and now we've got the Zafira of Alligator just playing plenty of attention. Black Ray, he's going to find the first one onto number 2. That's the Jaeger gone, and as I said, they were well aware of his position there. So that's the opener for Cyclops here. And as I said, on the attack, if they can start taking the onus, they might just do well. But I don't think they're aware of Shin. Nope, it's an absolute freebie onto Black Ray for what is effectively a late trade there. He looks to make another one out of Classroom. Can't teach him a lesson, and he's going to challenge instead onto Main Door. Nice. And there it is, delivered nicely. Shin having a field day from underneath.
Great little shot. Yeah, I mean, Black Ray in Kitchen was trying to get some nade play from below to find a freebie, but drone work wasn't complete. They had no idea that Shin was sat around on split and picks up 2 kills here to completely slow their own round down for Cyclops. Tim, they're nowhere nearby, and they've got 15 seconds left on the clock, and they've got to be thinking, okay, what do we do here? By the looks of it, a sprint in through the game's door is going to be the way, but there's a man with a shotgun waiting for you to come around the corner. All too easy for Typon, who brings down the diffuser. Round is done and dusted. Cyclops not respecting the clock.
I'm not sure what happened there. He chose not to take the shot through to the man in pit, lost his life, but it was irrelevant. The diffuser was down and there was absolutely nothing that Cyclops could do on the attack. That's going to be another round lost, and as I said, it was an important one because FAV, they've got the momentum back, they've got themselves a successful defence. It's 5-2, and Cyclops, there's a message been sent to them there, Des, that even with the initiative, even with it being your choice where these fights are taken, you're still not going to win them. And that was sloppy droning from Cyclops. You can't allow Shin playing downstairs to get 2 kills like that. It just cannot happen, and you're going to lose the round if you do.
That's exactly the problem, right? The main issue there was that non-droning of Shin. They had the idea of the Jaeger and probably thought, okay, cool, 1 roamer, Jaeger, makes sense. I suppose relatively rare that you'd expect to see a mute out on the roam. Normally, if you'll see a mute anywhere on this site, it would be sat inside of Kitchen, looking to play from below, C4 denials, maybe deny with shotgun onto the window inside of security. But when they saw dining was clear, Kitchen was clear, showers was clear, security was clear, the question probably came in, okay, no one's going to be playing here, let's just get on with it and should we make this happen now? And they thought, yeah, why not? Let's try and pick up the pace a little bit, and they pay the price for it massively.
Certainly do, and they find themselves now only 2 rounds away from an opening day loss here in APAC North. And as I said, Cyclops coming in with a sort of roller coaster year last year. They were going to be looking for something strong this year, and I'm not writing them off after 1 game, Des, but it's not going to be the start that they were looking for, especially against a team that they may well not even necessarily see as a direct rival, Des. They're looking at Sandbox, they're looking at Damwon Kia. They're the teams that they expect to be fighting against. Fnatic. You know, these are the points that they need to be picking up in order to do so.
That's it, but like we said, you know, Cyclops have always been 1 step behind Damwon Kia, at least from summer last year onwards. They were always in their shadow and really struggled to get the form that would make them a world-beating team. And the thing is, you speak to any pro players around the world, they'll say the one team you do not want to step into a server with is Cyclops because they are so unpredictable. It's all good being unpredictable, but if you're not getting the numbers and the results to show that that playstyle is worth playing, is it then time to look at changing things up? I don't know.
Plenty of attention to the rear stage stairs for the time being from FAV. They're going to just dip themselves back down now, try to hold on to pillars. I think one will move through. Yes, Shin into Freezer. So just aware that they could be facing a multifaceted approach from Cyclops here. They could be looking to get themselves in on a number of angles. For the time being, not really established inside of the map yet. Alligator heading towards Big Tower. They're looking to get themselves that map control. We can see the sledge just swinging the hammer there above it. Not going to have themselves control over Big Tower yet, I don't think. Not confidently, as in not being in there and actively controlling it, but they have got themselves the rest of the map. They're going to be taking the security hatch to get into Freezer, and that's going to start to give them something to work with at least. And Black Ray looking to just pressure down Laundry Stairs as well.
They're looking better on time at least, right? I mean, better than FAV were when they were on the attacking side because Cyclops are wasting a lot of time out around the map. However, we've already seen Cyclops run the clock down to basically 0 in the previous round, losing out in the 2 versus 2 thanks to the clock. They've had, 85 seconds to play with here? They're down to about the last 60 or so. 5 versus 5, every man playing on site. You should be winning this one out. But a one-man swing comes in. It's 2 easy kills coming out for FAV there. A bit of miscommunication with the man on Big Tower not pushing down. Black Ray just holding firm whilst the rest of his team moved in, and they pay the price. 2 versus 5 now. Alligator and Black Ray against the world.
It just doesn't feel like Cyclops have really switched on today. There's, as you say, a little bit of miscommunication just causing themselves a real problem here, trying to push in towards elbow that is going to be tough to take. You've got Typon in there behind a deployable shield. This is not an easy challenge. He's going to play it very patiently. He's just going to wait for his moment, and when it comes, it's not going to be easy to defend against. Alligator, for the time being, trying to put some pressure on through electrical, but he knows that he's constantly got this threat from elbow that he's just sat there waiting to move around the corner. Black Ray having to move in, grabs that diffuser, and with Ramu on a shotgun, the day's done, Des, at this point. It's going to be 6-2. It's going to be at least a guarantee of overtime for FAV, if nothing else. And to be honest, right now, I can't see Cyclops taking them to that point.
I'd be very surprised if they even get around at this point, Tim. Even the defenses out of FAV are just looking razor sharp, and dare I say, in a really weird way, it's almost like the two teams have just switched positions here. Where FAV last year, I think about, and they'd be the crazy ones looking to get out of windows and give you grief. This time around, it's Cyclops, and on the defensive side, FAV looking stalwart, looking coordinated, looking like a team, and Cyclops looking a little bit broken. And that was FAV's story last year. On the attacking side, they were very weak, but on the defensive side, they were doing pretty well overall. I think their attacking win rate was down near 30%, their defensive 64% plus. So overall, it's looking like a bit of a reversal in roles here. I like what I'm seeing from FAV, and to be honest with you, Tim, I'd welcome this to continue more into future weeks.
Well, this is it. I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, FAV, a new contender has appeared, potentially. If they can keep playing like this, there is points there that can be taken off those top teams, and we could have FAV just raising themselves up the ranks and trying to get themselves in towards those top 4, the top 3, top 2 positions even, to really challenge come the end of the stage in the season. And going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on, that much is for sure. As you say, rock solid on the defences that we've seen so far, and they're going to take their third site now. It's going to be meeting, and right now I don't feel like Cyclops have got the answer to what FAV are bringing. It feels like in these last couple of rounds, they feel like it's a foregone conclusion. It feels like they've switched off a little bit now.
Quite possibly. I mean, if things are going horrifically wrong, why not go back to Old Faithful? Now, normally for Anaton, it would be the Monty. Here, it's going to be the Ossa. So I'm looking to see what the use case is for this, because knowing Anaton, he's going to have some real ratty stuff in his back pocket ready to roll out on this operator.
It's just going to be how effectively he can use that shield. Obviously, the coverage isn't quite the same as your others. There's a lot of exposure of feet, of shoulders, of other areas, and at this level, with the way these FAV players have been going so far today, I would expect them to be hitting those shots around the glass that will be positioned in front of Anaton. So for the time being, he's dipped himself away, but it's also about the deployment of those shields as well, obviously. We've seen the Monty, the Blitz, you can't do anything with it, but the Orsa, you can get that one down on the floor, you can play behind it, it can become like a deployable shield. So we'll see exactly what Anaton can come up with. Is it going to create the protection they need to get a plant down, for example, to work in behind? But we saw in our last game, Des, that works both ways, and it allowed those defenders on the retake to get in there and disable that diffuser with complete protection.
I'm curious to know what the intent is here behind what they want to play through. Obviously, they want this opened up now with the mute jammer being taken out. Totally fair. But he did drop one of his Ossa shields down towards the door in Tier 1 of Big Tower. So it gives them the cross angle, I imagine, in towards green. And look at this upon the stairs.
Yes.
This is beautiful, because you can't really get the arc angle over coming in from an impact nade, for example. It would hit the ceiling before it reaches the actual shield itself. I told you he'd come up with some mad ratty stuff, Tim, and he's found it.
Certainly has. I asked the question of how effective they would be, and we've got our answer. He's now likely to try and get that down, I think, on the stage. Just waiting for those Toxic Babe canisters to be used, to be burnt away, and then if he can get himself established with the Ossa shield, it's going to give him an opportunity to get that diffuser down. For the time being, FAV are trying to front it up. Avro just having a little look if there's anything doing inside of Attic, but absolutely not.
Boy.
Suzuki is there. He's ready to challenge.
It's Shin coming from below, though, that could be the big difference maker here. He's playing on the Jaeger. He's worked his way through basement. If he comes up behind them, this could be absolutely nuclear towards the outside. outcome of this. They've got 3 smoke grenades still to play with on the side of CAG, mind you. They can keep on doing this all day. So at some point, something has got to change. The question is, do FAV move first or does Cyclops?
Shin, he's in position. How much is he going to get? 1,
Oh,
2.
that's it.
It's huge. He's going to dip himself away, keep himself alive, but the damage is done, Des. Suzuki's having to challenge down, finds his man, but with Ayagator down as well, surely it is all over. Suzuki, however, he keeps himself fighting. This is now a 1v2 effectively, but he's low health. He doesn't have diffuser. He's going to take the opportunity to pick Ayagator up, but they're down to 8 seconds. They have to make a move now. They have to start getting the plant down. That's exactly what they will do. This is going to be a big win if Cyclops can do this, but it's unlikely as the man pops up, comes off the plant, and that is going to be FAV taking not only the round, but the opening day win.
Absolutely huge flank coming in from Shin there, Tim. We saw him step down into that basement quite early on and thought, surely not, surely he doesn't evade the drone the whole way, but gets the prize. He gets the hustle when he comes up the stairs. And that was the operator that was crucial to be removed for them to close out that round. A 7-2 scoreline. I think most coming into today would have predicted the reverse, that it would be Cyclops going 7-2, but FAV, what a performance. They've done some work in the off-season.
It was a big play from Shin. He's not single-handedly won that round, but he's gone a long way towards it, as you say. And I said it earlier, sloppy drone work from Cyclops, not picking up on him, not having that covered.
Not even a flank drone.
Exactly that, and they've got to be doing better than that. They've got to be doing better than that.
They've got to be doing a lot better than that for sure. Look, it's a rocky first day. You'll give teams a couple of play days to really warm back into things. It is a new season. It is a new patch, all the rest of it. But FAV, with that coordination, with the execution pace they had as well, absolutely beautiful. Yes, please, to see more of that on Friday.
More of that, absolutely. I think if we can see that FAV team continue, there's going to be a lot of those top teams that, as I say, will be looking towards Sandbox, Fnatic, Damwon as the big challengers. You might just be looking at FAV now and thinking, we need an extra couple of hours prep on these.
Justify this.
We can have a bit of that.
Just a bit more than that. That sort of one. Let's go to a break. When we come back, our analysts will break it down for you.